Hey guys. Okay, I'm gonna come on here and start working on this case I'm working on with Mark Riebe, and he's a serial killer, or they have him labeled as a serial killer. He's doing time for one premeditated murder right now. I don't know if y'all watched the videos or read up on anything I asked you to last night on him, or Googled him, or anything like that. I'm going to start it with a pre-recording now. I don't really have enough to go live. I like about 150 subscriptions or something like that. I wanted to do it all legit, but if I don't get it, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it like everybody else. And I just want to bring a fresh set of eyes to this, and try to do it as respectful as I can. I want y'all to understand that I've had a lot of contact with Mark, and I'm going to read you the first couple of letters tonight. Excuse me. But and I'm going to show y'all a few things. And again, I do feel like everybody needs respect, no matter who they are. I don't know him, and again, I'm not trying to make anybody mad. I am trying to get answers that maybe, cops don't ask. I'm not a cop. I'm not a journalist. I'm not the news. I'm not anything like that. I'm just a person, and there may be questions that I won't answer, or that somebody wants answered that is scared to ask, or it's just always been in the back of their minds. Hey, I'm not scared to ask. I just want to ask it appropriately and try to be respectful about it. And, I just want to treat people fairly and how I would want to be treated. So, when I ask things or say things, you just got to remember to keep that in the back of your mind too. And I want to also try to be respectful to the family or families out there as well. I have reached out to everybody. So this is going to be a process. Excuse me. So like I said, I will probably go live at some point. I just wanted to get started. I'm not fancy smancy here. So, there's that. But I just wanted to get the ball rolling. I wanted to give you those little things, tidbits to go over and watch last night. And if you can, I still suggest that you do To Catch a Serial Killer, season 1, part 3, and go to Netflix Piers Morgan, the interview with Mark Riebe. I say Riebe sometimes, it's the E silent, it's Mark Riebe. Piers Morgan interviews him, and everything. I hadn't really found anything up to date, so it's kind of nice also to have something updated. There's a lot of stuff out there, but to kind of have things updated freshly, especially in these cold cases, because these are cold cases. I was really going after Pamela Ray. There's a lot of people that really want to find out information. Where's she at? What happened to her? It's coming up on the 30th year with her. There was a lot of attention to her case. Donna Callahan, you can't really they did find Donna, but you can't really talk about Pam without talking about Donna. You'll see that. And then there's others. We're going to have to bring those up too. Not only did I talk to Mark, in fact, I got a email from him this morning, but not only have I talked to Mark, I've talked to his brother, Alex, who's in a whole different prison. So Alex knows I've talked to Mark, but Mark don't know I've talked to Alex. And I told Mark I'd be honest with him. I just hadn't told him that information. You'll see why. You'll get the gist. But if he asks me, I'll let him know. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to him. I'm not going to lie to anybody. But there's, certain things you have to do, or, whatever, if you want answers. And also, I'm just going to be truthful to everybody. I did tell Mark that I reached out to Special Agent Dennis Haley. He's a big deal, and he's a big deal in this case. And Mark was fine with that. I have not heard back from Haley yet. I did try a different way also. I heard he's not in that great of health. So I may hear from him as the time goes by. But again, if you watch To Catch a Serial Killer, you'll get all of Haley's side on that. It's a lot. It's a lot. I have cried. There's been tears. Been a few little smiles. Of course, there's nothing to smile about as far as the things that's happened. But there's, it's really sad. It's really sad. And I want justice for all these families, no matter what. I think we saw in this last case that we were all working on with Summer that it doesn't matter who's innocent or guilty. We want justice. And this one is really... when I first went into this one, like I said, I told y'all last night, I have watched things all of my life. I have had real tragedies in my life and with my family. And I'm very tender-hearted, and I've seen a lot of stuff. I've been in medical, and I've seen some horrific stuff and personal stuff, and there's some clips out there, and I may show some short ones. I can't do it on this because I can't share my stuff, and I'm not at my computer. But when I first heard some of the other clippings and stuff like that, I never just sat and watched a ID show or Unsolved Mysteries or a movie or anything got the heebie-jeebies like I did this. It was just something just cold, I don't know, it just got in me. And, I told Mark that. I told him that at the very beginning. But y'all see all that. I'm not going to rattle on about all that. But basically, like I said, I'll show y'all a few things tonight. And we'll get into a little each day. Um, you may have heard of this case. I want you to Google it. I want you to look it up. I want you to, stay with me and follow me. Please subscribe. Like I said, I'd like to go live. Please subscribe. I'm learning too. I'm still learning. I got a life outside of YouTube, and I'm learning. So, anyway, I'm trying to get all this out of my eyes, so when I get ready to read you these few letters I'm going to read tonight, I got a bunch. Oh my God, I got a bunch. I wanted to print them out because if I do it on my computer like I usually show you my stuff, there's so many of them. And I may do them that way to save me money on printing, but there's so many of them. Because this has been going on for about 6 weeks or more. It's a lot between both of the boys or men. So, anyway, I don't know what I'm going to do, but we're just going to wing this, okay? Y'all just bear with me. So first, I want to tell you, I'm going to have to put my glasses on, y'all. I guess I will start with okay. This is Donna Callahan. Okay. This is an old newspaper clipping. I did print it out on a photo, so I'll put that up later. It was in the Pensacola News Journal. Okay. She was I want to show you. This is her daughter now. Her daughter is older, of course, now, but she had a daughter at the time that was like 2. They could pass as twins to this day. It's very, very sad. Her daughter says she has no memories of her mom. She goes and visit her grave. They did find her body. And this is what both Alex and Mark, which Alex was already in prison, and we'll get to all that, but they are both serving life sentences for premeditated murder on Donna Callahan, this lady right here. And this is her grown daughter who says she has no memories of her mom, which is very sad. I can't imagine. At the time, this is what Mark looked like at the time. So, let me just tell you a little bit about Donna, because we have to kind of start there. But Donna Marie Susanna Callahan, she lived in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and she was a store clerk. She was born on July 30th, 1960. She was 3 months pregnant at the time. She had a little girl. And at the time, this little girl, her name is Angie. And Angie, I believe, was 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old at the time. Which, like I said, to this day, she could be her mama's twin. 29-year-old Donna Callahan worked at the Sunshine Junior Food Store out in Gulf Breeze, Florida, which is something else now. Yeah, Angie was 2 years old. And around midnight, two guys, one guy came in, we know now was Mark Riebe. There was no struggle. There was no robbery from what the LE said. Donna's purse and keys was left on the counter of the store, and her car was left in the parking lot. Y'all give me a minute. This just really makes me sick. Because even though what I'm not saying here tonight, and I will, and you'll see, and there's clippings and videos and this, that, and the other, I've already saw it or whatever, and it makes my stomach turn, so y'all bear with me. But, and then she was abducted. What we know now, I wasn't going to say that, but I'll go ahead and tell you. What we know now is Mark went in the store and got her, and Alex was driving, and according to what we know now, Mark had brought her out, supposedly at gunpoint, put her in the back seat, told Alex to drive, and Alex didn't want to drive, and he kept telling him to go. And then she was begging for her life and her baby's life because she was pregnant, and she had a 2-year-old little girl at home, and the police not hurt her. The next thing, and you'll find out later on, Alex said he heard some gurgling where I guess Mark cut her throat. And he told him to go, and they left. There was even a witness where they got in a fight on the side of the road, and I guess Alex felt like not only was that the worst night of his life, but he lost a brother that night too. Alex says that he deserves to be there for what he did. There's no doubt about that. And what he did prior that has nothing to do with any of that. But he said that, he lost a brother that night. He said he never intended to pick Mark up that night. And he was going on a date and stopped by. And you'll see, and I'll get into all that later. That's later down the road, but just remember all that. And remember, too, that Special Agent did say in one of the clippings that Alex has remorse. Now, I will tell you, before I go any further, I was questioning Mark. Mark didn't have really a real record or anything, so it was kind of really confusing me as I was digging and digging, and I really dug on this case. I really did. Alex, on the other hand, has a very bad record, so you can't always tell. But you got to remember, serial killers are manipulators. They like to control, and they're psychopaths, and I don't remember in these letters that I'm going to read you, I was nice, kind, courteous. I know that. But when I started asking, he likes to control the situation. And then there's some things he skips around. And you're going to see when we get into a lot more of the mail. I don't know. But even with Pam, when we really start focusing on Pam, I think there was a slip up the other day. So I really got to get all my ducks in a row. And there's a local, I don't want to get off subject. I had all this straight. But there's a local cop that works on this all the time. Drew Whitman. And, he may need to see that. But I just kind of want y'all to know where I stand. But anyway, let's get back to Donna. And I just want y'all to know I'm really sad. I jumped out of the other case, and this has just really made me really sad. But I want y'all to know I'm trying to be respectful as possible. And I told him, look, I'm asking you these things. You can't get mad at me because, I'm probably going to get bashed a lot for this. But it is what it is. Okay. So, anyway. Her keys, her purse, her car, and all that was left. And, she was abducted. Police believed at the time that Donna's case could be connected to two other clerks' case. A lady named Deborah Poe and Darlene Messer. And they aired first on November 6, 91. What is that? Unsolved Mysteries. And To Catch a Killer. Except Donna's case was solved in 1993. It was solved in 1993 when Alex Wells was an inmate in another prison in Florida. And he was already serving a sentence. His name is William Alex Wells, for a confessed abduction, kidnapping, assault, and robbing a store. So he was already serving a sentence for that. But what happened was, one day he just told, in like a prayer group or something, he just could, like, he said he just couldn't, there's one thing he couldn't be forgiven for, and they're like, yeah, I mean, you can be forgiven for anything, and he said not this, and so he told them about Donna. Somebody overheard it, and anyway, they told on him, and so that's how all that got started. So he got charged with killing Donna Callahan. Okay, so he got a life sentence for killing Donna. He told the person that she was buried on the family farm out in Defuniak Springs, Florida. And what happened was they went out to the family farm and they started digging around and looking around on the farm in Defuniak Springs. Okay? Now, at that point, Special Agent Haley is out there, and he just can't find anything. And here comes Mark pulling up in his truck. They didn't know who he was. Had no idea. And he's like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Mark Riebe. I'm Alex's brother. My parents tell me that you're out here possibly looking for a body or whatever." And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Man, I know. I mean, I knew it. I knew my brother. I can show you. He possibly did it, and he starts, got another Don on hand or whatever. And, he's freaking out. But they do not suspect him at all. They're like, "Well, can you show, what do you mean this?" It was something he called it, but he's like, come look. Well, it wasn't there. They got the cadaver dogs, this, that, and other. But the funny thing was, they found the cadaver dog hit on 4 places. This is very important to remember on down the line. Very important. The cadaver dogs hit on 4 places. Donna's body was never moved, okay? But they never found Donna's body. Okay. Now, they start listening to Mark, and Mark's telling them all this stuff about, his brother, and he could do this, that, and other, and whatever, and, he was going to help the police, and they believed him, and, just blabbermouth. So, Mr. Haley, and then there was another guy, Ray Dale, which I'm trying to get in contact with him as well. Now, Mark liked Ray. He's told me that a bunch of times. I can't get a good grip on why, but I know why he don't like Special Agent Haley, and we'll get to that soon. He gets angry over him. But, anyway, the funny thing was, Mark was married, and he had, his little girl and boy, I think. I don't know if he had more, but I know he had the little girl and the little boy. And Mark ups and moves his wife and kids to Illinois. So I'm sitting there scratching my head going, I mean, I know when this case happened and when it was going on and all that, but I never knew anything about Illinois. And I'm sitting here when I'm researching this and doing this going, well, hold up, where did Illinois go into all this? So I'm sitting there really scratching my head. But Mark jumped up and moved his family to Illinois. Okay. So anyway, when Detective Haley found that out, Detective Haley, Special Agent Haley, he didn't think anything about it. He didn't think, oh, he just up and run or anything like that. Mark was supposed to be a star witness against his brother Alex. They were building a case against his brother Alex. You understand? So anyway, I mean, it's complicated, but it's kind of right there. So, in the meantime, Donna was never found yet. Okay, so Mark helped with the search of the property. They didn't find Donna. Mark up and left, took his family and moved to Illinois. The detective went, found Mark, knocked on the door. Mark opened the door. Mark was nervous. He come out. He didn't want his wife to hear whatever. And he says, his excuse was, I can't be a star witness. I can't testify against my brother. I can't do that. So Special Agent Haley tells him, look, it's going to be okay, Mark. It's going to be fine. We really need you to testify. You're what we got. We have to have you testify. This is important, blah, blah, blah. So Mark agrees to it. Sometimes people just can't keep their mouth shut. But anyway, Mark agrees to it. Reluctantly. So he said, come on, let's go get a few drinks. Special Agent Haley did. So he takes him out to the bar or whatever. And he kind of befriends him, which Mark tells me, no, you're wrong. I really wasn't his friend. And, whatever. You'll see that. He don't like Haley. And you'll see it in the interview with Piers Morgan. He don't like Piers, and I kind of had to agree with him a little bit because I said, boy, he sure was battering you at the end. Piers is not my favorite person either, but, Piers taunted him, and I just feel like if Piers wanted more questions out of him, he could have handled it a different way, but because he was already seeing he was getting agitated. But that's just me. I'm not a cop and I'm not a journalist, and I don't, that's just your one chance. You're one and done in the jail system. So, that's just me in my opinion. But I guess if you're sitting there facing somebody like that, you don't know what you would do. Anyway, this is where Piers went to have the interview with him. He had his picture down here with him at first, and I don't know if you can read that or not, because I don't know if my screen's showing backwards or not. And this is where he stood up to leave when he started ripping his camera and stuff off. It wasn't a very long, it's about a 30-40 minute interview. But you got to watch the full episode on Netflix. Just find Piers Morgan episode 1 or season 1, episode 3 with Mark Riebe. And all it says on the bottom is the convicted murderer left, who police believe is an evil as serial killer as Ted Bundy, sat down with journalist Piers Morgan Wright as part of ITV's documentary Serial Killers. And then at the top, it just says the journalist taunted Riebe, saying he should answer his questions like a man and that he believed he had killed all the women. And what he was doing is, you come back and you talk to me and talk to me like a man. This is not a woman, one of the woman you can pick on or something like that. And what Mark got mad about in the interview is because he kept going on and on and on about Special Agent Haley. He does not like Special Agent Haley, I'm telling you. So anyway, that's just my opinion. Y'all can watch it and judge for yourself. Please do. I want y'all to see that. And this was the picture that they took there. Also that day, I have a more recent one he sent me. He works with puppies, and he sent me one of him and the puppy. I think it was yesterday, but we'll be getting to that. So we'll be getting that real soon. He's in one of the vet puppy programs. And I think this one was when he first went to, this was back in, I think, 95. It's just showing him up on the board with some of the women. This girl right here, he got real angry in the Piers interview about that because she was a 13 or 14-year-old girl. And I will be showing you that at some point. Her name, I believe, is Andrea, but she was one of his stepdaughter's friends. He says he did not know her, he did not do it, and he denies. Of course, you know, we'll get into all that. And this is just something from Piers. It's just showing pictures of that. Half of it was cut off. It said Morgan meets convicted murderer Mark Riebe, who has confessed to multiple times to the murder of 13 young women along the Gulf Coast. Although he's incarcerated, he's confessed to the murder, but has since withdrew all of this, and it's cut off. And the interview with Piers was in 2017. So there's been no more interviews or anything with Mark. Okay? So I'm sure he probably gets a lot of fan mail. I don't know. He tried to tell me he's getting, when I first wrote him, that he's got, you'll see, I think it's in one of the first letters I'm reading, that he's got a something for a documentary offer or something like that. But we'll see. Also a prison picture. I mean, this is just to show y'all this man. Okay? I'm just telling y'all. Okay? I'm just trying to get all this started, and then we will discuss. Okay. So back at the family's property at that time, they could not find Donna's body. However, remember this, there was 4 places that dogs hit. So in the future, remember, there was a possibility that there was 4 bodies at least at one time that could have been on that property. But also remember, and this is important, it couldn't have been Donna's because Donna's body was never moved. It was never moved. Okay? That's very key, and I need y'all to hear that. Mark Riebe did help Ellie with the search of the property, like I told you. In fact, he was very helpful. You know, sometimes people can be too helpful. I'll let you draw your own conclusion. And he spit out a lot of information. As far as to tell Dennis Haley, not only did he think his brother did it, he told Special Agent that he thought his brother could be a serial killer. He told him that. Okay. So Agent Haley pretty much believed everything that Mark told him. Like I said, Mark uprooted and went to Illinois and moved his family there. But he was going to be a witness against his brother. Mark was drinking a lot and doing a lot of drugs. Mark told me that himself. So when Agent Haley got there, he told him he thought about backing out and he didn't want to do it. Agent Haley still was not expecting or suspecting Mark. He told him, come on, let's go to the bar. They went to the bars together. They went out to eat together. He tried to encourage him because he was having second thoughts. At least that's what he told him. Special Agent Haley even spent the night in a motel with Mark. And that's how much he trusted him and did not think about him being a killer, much less a serial killer. And which, again, has not been proven, but Haley felt comfortable enough with him to spend the night in the motel room. And to this day, Special Agent Haley says that freaks him out pretty much because he thinks about what could have happened. He said he's thought about it many a nights. Staying in that hotel or motel or whatever it was and what could have happened. And how dangerous it was. But he didn't know at the time, And did we really know anybody? Think of the BTK killer. We don't know. And I'm not saying Mark is to this day. Hey, I'm not judging anybody. I don't know. I'm just doing a story. I don't know. And I'm not taking sides. I don't know. We'll get to the part, probably not tonight, but we'll get to the part where Mark asked me my opinion or something to that effect or what I thought about something. And he said I skipped it and we just got to that like a few days ago. And I answered him. And I told him, pretty much I made my whole email about what I thought. So y'all will get to hear that too. Don't ask me if you don't want to know. but I tried to be respectful about it. Again, you got to remember, these people may be in there for life or death or whatever, but you have to remember they know people on the outside. So I hope y'all respect me, and I hope y'all understand. And if you don't like something, this is the time to just, please don't act crazy like you did in the other case, okay? Because you never know. All I want to do is help people. And you never know. I already think one thing might be helpful, and I hope y'all catch it like I do, but it's coming. I just don't know when. It's going to take a little bit, okay? So, for me to get it out there, but you'll see everything. When, like I said, Mark drank too and all that, but Mark got to the point where this was really getting to him. So I don't know how much of this was from what he's seen with Donna, what he did to Donna, what he had did to, for real, with other victims, or it was too much for him running around with the cop and hoping he didn't get caught. This cat and mouse game, or the drugs and alcohol, or all of it played a part. I don't know. Or the pressure of also trying to be a star witness for his brother. I don't know. Because I do know also, he writes Mr. Haley, or he did up until 3 years ago, handwritten letters to his address telling him to please let his brother out of jail, which that will never happen. He has 2 life sentences without the possibility of parole. His brother does. But it makes me wonder why he's so interested in his brother getting out of jail. Is it because it is absolutely true he didn't have a hand in anything with Donna? I don't know. It's not for me to sort out. But Mark started having to have like breakdowns and issues, nervous breakdowns and psychotic breakdowns. And when he would be with Special Agent Haley, like Mr. Haley would tell him to, hey Mark, put this in the trunk or put this in the car or something, and Mark would start seeing things, like seeing bodies in the trunk that wasn't there, and he'd say, what's wrong? And he'd be freaking out and stuff, and basically all that kind of crazy stuff, and hallucinating. Mark ended up, and he told me himself, Mark ended up getting put in the state hospital. So that happened, basically. In July of 1996, Alex Wells' trial started to begin, and it did. They had a strong opening statement, and they had their mother there. I think her name's Patsy Wells. That lady's got to be. She died this past few months ago, back in the summer. But that lady had to be one strong mother. We can't always blame the parents. Sometimes we can have kids and raise them all the same. They can come from a 2-parent home and one will go astray. But this lady, I don't know. I can't say. All I'm telling you is I looked into her background. She had a pretty good, a big family. She has a daughter that's in law enforcement. I don't know if she got into it after all this happened or whatever. She has a pretty big family. She had a pretty good job. Her obit said a lot. I really had, my heart really went out to her because I can't imagine what I'm fixing to tell you, but I have 4 boys that are all grown, and I can't fathom what I would do, how I would do, could I do. I couldn't. I would die first. I don't know. And this lady, and where she lives, it's a small town. The stigma, can you imagine, of having 2 sons in jail for life on one premeditated murder, let alone what her other son was in there for already for kidnapping. Murder. He's got a long record. And then you got Mark now, premeditated murder, labeled as a serial killer. And then you got people, I just can't. This is making my stomach turn just as a mother. But what I'm fixing to tell you is, in July of 1996, Alex Wells' trial started. And it did. And his mom was there on the front row. They had a good opening statement. I'm getting nauseated again, I swear, y'all. And then, I guess they didn't know, I can't be 100% fact, but I guess they didn't know Mark was going to be the star witness. It's even possible he was still in the hospital at this time. I'm not sure. But they gave their opening statement, and then they said their star witness was going to come in and testify. And they gave his name as Mark Riebe. And their poor mother was sitting there. And she was just floored. And I can't even imagine or dream of what she was going through. So what happened was, they took a recess. And Alex was getting the death penalty. And when they took recess, the lawyer was in there and Alex was in there and whatever. And Patsy went running in there, and she went in the room and she said, nope, something's wrong. Alex didn't do this. A mother knows her son. Now, she was both of their mothers. They were half brothers, but she was the mother of both of these boys. And she said, a mother knows her son. Alex didn't do this. She said, Mark did this. Alex will tell you everything, but you got to take death off the table. Alex was just sitting there. He was just sitting there like this. And she, isn't that right, Alex? And he just kind of, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. How do you choose between two of your kids? How do you open your mouth between two of your kids? Now, Mark is none the wiser at this point. That's just a sad situation right there, a bad situation. But you got to do the right thing. I mean, for the family, for the victims out there. The mom and dad of Donna was out there, and she had a 2-year-old baby. I mean, what? I never want to be put in a spot like that. Never want to be put in a spot like that. I pray to God I'm never put in a spot like that. So what basically happened was, they were just flabbergasted, and they took him to the judge and all that, and the judge told him, they're like, well, first they had to go to the family and say, well, this is what happened. Well, at that point, it had been 7 years. The family said, we just want her body back. We want to bring her home. We want to give her the proper burial. Okay. But the judge had to agree. So they took him in the judge's chambers, and the judge told him, said, the only condition I will do this and take death off the table is if you take them to the body, and if you got to pass the polygraph test. Well, he passed the polygraph test, and then they gave him another one, and he passed the other polygraph test. No problem. He helped bury the body, but he couldn't remember exactly where it was, so that was his only part in it. He didn't murder Donna, but he couldn't quite remember exactly where it was, but he took him to where the body was, and as luck would have it, that's where she was. The first time they didn't find it, I think, but it was right where in that vicinity. And so he didn't get the death penalty, but he is serving it, and he's, he knows he deserves to die in prison, no doubt. I asked him if he thinks I asked him if he thinks Mark committed all the serial murders, and he said he does think that Mark committed some of those murders, but he does not believe that Mark committed all of the murders. And, it's kind of a toss-up in the air, because the same thing is what the police said. We believe he committed some of the murders, but not all of them. Well, what happened was they called Mark in because Mark didn't realize that they were then on to him at that point. Well, they made a case against Mark, and when they made the case against Mark, he was charged. Okay, that's all that. All right, so he was charged with the murder of Donna Callahan. He got 25 to life. Now, they say he will never get out. They say he'll never see the light of day. However, I keep asking him, and he said he's been up for parole, and he keeps getting denied. Now, like I told him in one of my, I don't know if I told him that or not, but I told somebody. One of the things that I think is, okay, well, let me, there's no statute of limitations on murder. I don't think it is anywhere, but there's no statute of limitation on murder in the state of Florida. What happened was, after he had already been convicted, about 3 or 4 months later, I might have the months incorrect, but he was in prison a pretty little while. His sister called Haley and said, Mark needs you to get over to the prison. He's got something to tell you that's mind-boggling. Haley goes over there, and he's over in Blackwater, and he gets over there, and he tells Haley, he said, Haley said, what is it? You know, they're in the glass and talking on the phones. And he tells him, he said, you know, he said, remember I told you that my brother Alex was a serial killer. Still believing him, special agent said yes. Mark said, that was me. I was a serial killer. And so the special agent Haley just said, you know, they took him out. That's when they started questioning him, this, that, and the other. Well, at this point, it comes in on Pamela Ray. She was one of the victims. Pamela Ray was discovered missing August 12th, 1992 in the Long Beach area on Front Beach Road in Panama City Beach, Florida. Her vehicle was abandoned in front of Will Heights Motel, which some people call White's. And she had 2 small children. She come down from Georgia. And they were supposed to have her key prearranged. But anyway, she come down, and her kids was asleep, and she didn't. The door was locked. Usually she has a key, I guess locks the door and has a key in her hand. And this is the weird part. I have more pictures. I don't think I printed them out though. But what happened was the kids was in the car. Okay. She walks around to the swimming pool area, and there was even a cop that was in the picture. You could see a cop car going by, but there was a cop that saw a man follow her around. So, I mean, there was witnesses. But the thing is, they asked Mark, they said, well, can you tell me one thing that would link you to Pam Ray? And he said, the only thing I can think of with her is she had a single key in her hand. Well, how would he know that if they've never found her body? This is her sister, Rhonda Bishop. Her and her sister was very, very close. Rhonda comes down to Panama City Beach all the time. She does research. She talks to the cops at Panama City Beach. She stays informed. She tries to get updates, etc., etc. The big news is Rhonda talks with, I think you pronounce it Jayla, but I may be saying that wrong, which is Mark Riebe's daughter, who he has no contact with, who is very close with her and believes her dad did commit these murders and has no contact with her dad to this day. Who even, Mark told me, threw his mom under the bus when it come to being with him when Pam was kidnapped. So that's where I'm trying to get some information at now. Mark asked me a question the other day, because we're trying to talk a lot about Pam right now. And it's not in these emails, but you'll see it, and I want to see if you catch it. And if y'all catch what I caught, because he's been very careful, then I will take it down. Because we don't know where Pam's body is. Or we don't even know if Pam's dead. But we all assume everybody does. And another thing. This is Pamela Ray's daddy. Pamela Ray's daddy come down, went to Defuniak Springs, went to Mark's mom's house, and I guess talked to Mark by phone, you know, because you have to have approved phone calls and stuff. So Mark told Pam's dad, he confessed to him and told him that he killed her and all this stuff. Of course, he was real upset and everything. And then, you know, a few months later, he died. And basically, he died with a broken heart, thinking Mark told him he killed his daughter, and I don't know the conversation. But I can tell you he died with a broken heart. After Mark did that, because he also admitted to those. This is Pam with her husband and her mom and her sister and her family. But after he admitted to those, he recanted. And he said he didn't do it. It's been a tale that there was some DNA that came back after the DNA started coming into play, that there was a couple of those that he possibly could not have killed. But the main thing is, where is Pamela Ray? Her family would like some closure. There's a lot of people here that would like closure. Did Mark do it? Is he behind bars? Who did it? Are they behind bars? Is there a serial killer running around here still? The person that did it, are they dead? Are they next door? We don't know. Is Mark playing games? Is he the real killer? Or the person making these people gone? I was reading today, I've tried to get a hold of Rhonda too, the sister. And so I was reading on her Facebook, and she's putting pieces together. And she's got the same confession that I'm fixing to read, that only the family and the police has got. And I'm getting Donna's too. And she's convinced by him talking to the dad. And I have it on my computer. I'll probably show y'all tomorrow or something. Since Facebook is public, that she believes he did it. Now, Alex, I told you the daughter works, J-Lo. I mean, they just are really close, her and Rhonda, it seems like. And Alex has been in contact with Rhonda, Pam's sister. But, you know, Mark, I can't get a straight answer from him out of that. But I did read on her Facebook. I don't think he's contacted her or she's contacted him lately, because I did read on the Facebook that about a year or so ago, she said to somebody, asked, have you recently talked to him since the Piers Morgan, I think, interview? And she said, no, I was thinking about writing him and harassing him today. But I never saw an update on that. So, yeah. I've got a couple of letters here. Let me just start out with, and I'll tell y'all, I go by Smiley. But since we're doing JPay, I marked out my last name, and I'll just tell y'all, because this makes no sense to me anyway. I just want my family safe, and, you know, I'll give you my first name, because it'll be in these letters. So you'll hear me say my first name. I marked out my last name. You know, if you figure it out, you figure it out. But can you please be respectful of my family, because although I have nothing to hide, and my kids are grown and everybody knows what I'm doing, and that's fine and good. You know, I just worry about my little grandkids, and I mean, it doesn't even really matter, but I just, you know, people so stupid out there on the YouTube streets. So just have respect. But anyway, I try to have respect. So I think y'all will get it. I think you're smart enough to get it. So this was January 17th at 10 o'clock. I said, "Dear Mr. Riebe, hello, sir. You don't know me, nor I you. However, I will try to come to you without any judgment and all respect. I'm just trying to find truth and really am nobody special. I really have no dog in the race per se. I do have a very small YouTube channel, and actually I was covering a little missing child from another state for 7 months, and I still am. I'm not very good at any of this, but I am human. I do want to ask you if you don't mind about Pamela Ray, who is still missing. I know you have confessed at one time, parenthesis, well, I actually didn't know that part until recent. Then you took it back, but what will you tell me about that, if anything? I know you called and confessed also to her dad that is out there, and then he died a few weeks later. I guess her parents will never really know the truth, but just in my thoughts, I see you are a lifer, and I see you have murder. I don't know why, I don't know details, haven't been dug up. I just want to know from you if you will write me back. I'm sending stamps to you, and tell me your story from your own point of view, please, sir. I will listen. And then there is Donna Callahan. Were you involved in that? I mean, I need to research more, but is there a serial killer on the loose in Panama City Beach, Florida? What is your story? Thank you for your time, sir. Tammy. And then he wrote, oh, he was a clever one right here. He wrote, "Hi, Miss." He wrote my last name. "Well, let me begin by saying thank you for the stamps that you had transferred to me. Now, I do hope this finds you in the best of health and life being kind to you. With that being said, I am at a loss as to why you have sent me those stamps, and I hope I'm not coming across as being rude, for that is definitely not my intentions. I am just trying to figure out who you are. I do hope to hear from you, for you have my curiosity up. So until then, I will close again. Thanks for the stamps and look forward to hearing from you. Take care and stay safe, Mark." He's going to pretend he didn't got my email, but he got it, and he wants to see what I'm going to say. So, this is what I said. I said, with respect. This is what I said. I said, thank you, Mark. And then in parentheses, I said, I hope I can call you that, or Mr. Riebe is fine too. Well, did you not get the first email I sent? I understand JPay must be slow, but I figured since you wrote back, you got and read my email. Oh no, I don't think you're rude. It's a fair question. I sent the stamps because you don't know me, and I felt it was the right thing to do. If I was writing you, asking you to write me back, maybe I was wrong. I don't know. I'm sorry if I offended you. I understand what you're in there for. I haven't got that full story. It's yours to tell if you ever want to. So until that time, I don't know you or the circumstances or anything about that. So I really can't speak on that. I try to be fair. What I like to know about is Pamela Ray, who went missing in Panama City Beach, Florida back in the 90s. I understand you once confessed to her murder and retracted. Then, at one point, you even called her father and told him you had killed her years later, to which he broke down crying a few months later, and he passed away, and then you retracted that? Question mark. I know you don't know me, however. As I explained, I have a very small YouTube channel, and I remember this case very well. I have wondered why it is still a cold case, and if it will ever be solved, and if her 2 children will ever know where their mom actually is. I know it's in the news, etc., but for me to see the whole picture, I have to at least try coming and getting your side of things. I do not know these people, nor anyone involved. However, I would like to find the truth. My mama always said, go to the horse's mouth. I don't know if you're the horse, but I'm trying. Maybe you wouldn't mind sharing anything you know. I will be as respectful as possible. Thank you again for writing back, and I hope you're okay too, as can be there. I know it's not just peaches and cream there. I look forward to hearing from you again. Thanks, Tammy. So, he wrote me back, and he said, hi, Miss, my last name. Well, just received both of your emails. So now he's going to say he got both my emails. So this is when we're trying to get on a foot level. So he says, well, I just received both of your emails, which clears up a lot. First, you can call me Mark. I have no problem with that. In fact, I do not want to be addressed as Mr. Riebe. Now, after reading your emails, it's obvious the information you have is wrong. For one, I never called Pamela Ray's father. I did speak with him, yes, but he was at my mother's house, and our conversation wasn't anything like you described. Yes, he did get upset, but not about what you think. Oh, just to let you know, you have not offended me in any way. You said you have your own podcast and would like me to tell my story. Well, there's a couple of problems with that. For one, I do not believe the Department of Corrections will allow us to do a live podcast, but more importantly, at this time, I'm in the process of doing a documentary called ABC/Hulu. I say in the process, I'm working with a professor from down south, and she definitely wants to tell my side, especially since it's something that came about after the interview with Piers Morgan. Now, I don't know if you have watched that interview with Piers Morgan. If not, after you read this and you still want to keep talking, watch it, and then I will share some things that the public isn't aware of. I truly believe it will leave you wondering just what the truth, all capital letters, just what the truth is. I will tell you this, I have nothing to hide. In fact, I want the truth to come out. And that's why, after having been told many times that someone wanted me to tell my side, only to find out that wasn't true. Now, I know this professor really believes in me. That's crazy. Is this professor a former FBI agent that came across my case years ago as a profiler, and she said she always thought something wasn't right? Well, you probably aren't interested in all that, so I'll close and I'll wait to see if you want to talk. I do want, again, to thank you for the stamps and also for your interest in my case. Take care and stay safe. Mark, please, as I've said, I have no problem continuing to talk if you care to. The reason for that is I want everyone to know the truth. So I wrote back and I said, "Hi, Mark. Thank you so much for writing me back. I was worried I had upset you, and that's the last thing I wanted to do. To be honest, I know you did talk to Piers Morgan, but I didn't watch that yet. In fact, since you did write me back, I will actually watch it this afternoon. Well, this evening. It's afternoon now. Ha. I will let you get out everything you feel you want to make right. You can tell me your side of the story if you want. Or, I know the Florida corrections won't allow interviews, so that's fine. And I know that Florida corrections won't allow interviews, so that's fine. How about, what if you just write me on here some, and then I can ask or answer until you feel your side of the story is done? I will then print, which people can see you are in custody and we are writing, and I'll read it to them. Maybe I will show them in parts. Does that sound okay? I'm sorry I got it wrong about your call to her dad. And you said you did talk to him. He was at your mom's, so I assume you called your mom and spoke to him. That must have been hard. I kind of feel weird about this, but I really just want the truth. I will be respectful, and if you don't lie to me, I won't lie to you. I will continue to send you stamps also to help you get your story, your words, and your truth to me. I look forward to hearing from you soon, Mark, and thank you again. I appreciate your time. You have the chance, I feel, to do good and help many people, probably more than we both know. You have a good day. Thanks, Tammy. P.S. Call me Tammy." So, that started on January 17th. Those letters that I read you was only from the 17th through the 19th. And trust me, I have a lot. And we are going to go through them. I just think it's interesting. And besides the letters, there's the confessions. I've got to decide. I don't, I want to show everything, but I've got to they're really hard. I don't know. I'm gonna do some stuff to kind of show y'all in videos, and I'll probably come on here tomorrow, go over some things on the case and some clips and stuff like that for my other computer. I want to go live, so if you can, please subscribe and like. This is going to get very interesting. I would like to revamp my channel and start going live, start doing some interesting things and cold cases. I'm only learning, y'all. I'm learning. That's all I can say. I'm learning. And I love y'all. I appreciate you sticking with me. I hope you watched the whole thing. And God bless everybody. Thank you so much. And share. Just subscribe. That's all I can tell you. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I love you. And thank you so much. And pray. Pray for these families. Pray for Pamela Ray to be found. Okay? Pray for Angie. Pray for Rhonda Bishop, the sister of Pamela Ray, that she gets answers. Pray for, Mark. Only that the right crimes are charged. I do want to say, and Alex, and, I don't know, just pray for everybody. Pray for me. Pray for me. Because the stuff I have to see and hear and do, but it's all, I just want to help. I just want to do good in my life. I don't know. I want to help somebody, and just help me find the right words and the things to say to be able to do it. Pray. Just pray. Even if you don't believe, just ask the higher power. I don't know. This evilness has to stop. The meanness, the selfishness, the hatefulness. But you're going to see the other papers, and I'm going to read y'all some notes every day till we get through this, because there's questions y'all are not going to believe I asked and what was answered or whatever. And it may help somebody in other cases you do. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe y'all just think I'm stupid. Maybe I am. But I hope you have a good night. I thank you very much. And I appreciate you very much. Love you. Good night.